Okay, hello everybody. This is Ron Dittmars talking to you from the Erasmus Academy Recording Studios, a second segment on Van Gogh's letters to his brother, and this is quite revealing about his creative process of art, actually, as found in these letters. So Danielle is with us today, and we're going to read this section from here a little bit down below the point where you see the bottom of the page. Okay, Danielle, you want to say hello?
Hi.
Okay, so our process is I'll read the sentence out loud and Daniela will repeat after me. And as she does, please repeat with her so you can get a sense of the sound. And then I'll ask her questions and pose questions about the structure of the sentence and then try to imagine in your mind what the answers would be. You could even pause the recording for a minute and try to answer yourself and then start it again to hear the answer. And then by that way, we're step by step building up an understanding of what the sentence means, and then she'll translate it at the end. Okay, good. Let's start reading a little bit. Um, so from the beginning here, and let's see if I can the mark. Do you see the mark there in the top?
No. Oh, yes, sorry.
Okay, so here we go. Ich habe mich gestern Abend mit dem sacht ansteigenden Terrain des Waldbodens. Everybody, go ahead.
Ich habe mich gestern Abend mit dem sacht ansteigenden Terrain des Waldbodens,
Then going on, der Kranz mit dürren, welken Buchenblättern bedeckt ist, beschäftigt.
der ganz mit dürren, welken Buchenblättern bedeckt ist, beschäftigt.
So we always beschäftigt, watch that A umlaut. And so we always identify the verb complex first, which is where?
Ähm, habe beschäftigt.
Yeah, and what goes with that? There's a reflexive pronoun.
Mich.
Good. So ich habe mich beschäftigt. So we add this to the verb complex, always the reflexive pronoun. So I have occupied myself, simply. And then mit takes what case here?
Dative.
And here's a word without an ending, so it's an adverb with a softly or gently rising or growing terrain of the. What case is this? Des Waldbodens?
Genitive.
Yeah, and notice that with masculine and neuter nouns, always you had an S there as a telltale signpost of the genitive of the. You could say the Vod means the ground or the earth, but we in this case maybe like the forest floor might be a good translation of that. Okay, um, so let's see. Now going on after the comma, what is this called? Der.
Um,
So relative pronoun, and what is its antecedent?
Waldbodens.
Good. It goes back here. Remember that the relative pronoun takes its form from three elements: the gender and the number of its antecedent, and then its role in the subordinate clause. It's actually serving as the nominative here, which is covered bedeckt ist, and as in any subordinate clause, the verb will go to the end of the clause as opposed to being in the second position in a regular sentence. Which is, and then dürren is parched as a word, and welken is you could say withered or something. Okay, so let's see. You want to just translate this relative clause here, starting with der?
Sure. Which is completely covered with parched, withered bush leaves.
Good. And mit takes the dative, so you have a dative plural, so that's why this N is here. So the plural of leaves is Blätter by itself, but you always have an N whenever you have a dative plural as a very convenient sign of that. Okay, so I think we've got the whole thing covered. You want to do the whole sentence?
Sure. Yesterday evening, I engaged myself with the gently growing terrain of the forest floor. which is completely covered with parched, withered bush leaves.
Great. So it's rising because of all these leaves the parched or withered leaves are have been falling on the ground, so it's rising a little bit. Interesting. Okay, let's go on. Den Grün bildet ein helleres und dunkleres Rotbraun. Everybody?
Den Grün bildet ein helleres und dunkleres Rotbraun
Mit Schlagschatten von Bäumen,
mit Schlagschatten von Bäumen,
die wie Streifen darüber hinlaufen,
die wie Streifen darüber hinlaufen,
flauer oder kräftiger hingesetzt.
Flower oder kräftiger hingesetzt.
Okay, if your teacher or someone wanted to give you a very challenging sentence to deconstruct, this would be one. Very difficult. So the first thing that we notice, Daniela, isn't that right? That this is den Grund cannot be the subject. Why not?
Because it's accusative,
Yeah,
so it's the object.
yeah, it's got to be the object den, because this is a masculine noun, den Grund. So you have to set that aside because we always look for the verb first. And where is that?
Build it.
Bildet. And so is it a singular? And just translate this like they build, they form, or it forms. We would say,
It forms.
yeah, so it forms. And where is the subject then? Say that would be
Uh,
up to this comma.
so it would be ein helleres und dunkleres Rotbraun.
Exactly, yeah. So and notice these are these the comparison adjectives with er?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So a lighter, it's sort of a contrast here. So a lighter and a darker red brown with Schlagschatten are shadows that are cast from trees. Forms, so this red brown, the core sentence is the red brown forms the 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 background or the main context of the picture of the scene basically. So you could say the background or the backdrop. Okay, so or even the principle of the painting. So you have that already. Now, we have a relative clause introduced with D. What does D refer back to?
Schlagschatten.
Yeah, so just going on, we could translate this first part as so a lighter and a darker red brown with shadows cast from trees forms the background, and then D refers back to Schlagschatten. So these shadows that are cast, which run forward as stripes or as veins run over, that is darüber, run over the trees. As you know, these shadows are running over the trees is the image that he's uh, getting at. So and how they run, um, and these stripes, and then go on from here, Flower oder kräftiger hingesetzt, and this,
Uh,
yeah, go ahead.
More weakly or more powerfully.
Yeah. So the stripes are and these are adverbs, comparative adverbs. Flau means weak, so more weakly or more feebly or more powerfully placed there. So the image is the stripes or veins of shadows cast run either more weakly, sometimes they have a very weak impact on the color composition, or more powerfully is the idea. So there you have the most difficult sentence in this, probably in the 5 days that we'll cover. Okay, let's go on. You want to do the whole sentence there? Start with
Yeah, sure.
a lighter and go ahead.
A lighter and a darker red-brown, with shadows cast from trees, which run over the trees as stripes, more weakly or more powerfully, set down there, forms the background.
Perfect. Yeah, so Daniela did all this first, which you have to do, and these are all the modifiers describing this red brown that he sense, and then at the very end includes the verb and the direct object. Great. Okay, let's go on. Die Aufgabe ist, and this is a little bit simpler now, which I'm sure you'll be happy to see. Die Aufgabe ist, und ich finde das sehr mühsam, everybody,
Die Aufgabe ist, und ich finde das sehr mühsam,
die Tiefe der Farbe herauszukriegen und die enorme Kraft und Festigkeit des Terrains
die Tiefe der Farbe herauszukriegen und die enorme Kraft und Festigkeit des Terrains.
Okay, let's do that first. Just how would you translate this first part?
The task is.
Yeah, and then here his a hyphen, sort of parenthetically, and I find that very um, laborious. To do what? So the task is, and where's the complement or infinitive?
Herauszukriegen.
Yeah, herauszukriegen is to draw out or to extract in some way, to draw out the depth of the color and 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 um and also to draw out, and then he adds other direct objects, and to also draw out, understood, the enormous power, die enorme Kraft, and the strength or firmness of the terrain. And then so that ends up there. Let's go on. Und doch merkte ich bei der Arbeit, everybody,
Und doch merkte ich bei der Arbeit,
wie viel Licht auch noch in der Dunkelheit saß.
wie viel Licht auch noch in der Dunkelheit saß.
So up to this comma, where's the verb?
Merkte.
Yeah, so I noticed, and notice whenever you have any adverbial element preceding at the beginning of the sentence, then the verb and the subject will reverse. So, and yet I noticed in working how, and then where's the verb of this one? This relative clause? Good. Saß. Notice at dependent clause or subordinate clauses, the verb always goes at the end. This is from sitzen, to sit, literally. Then the three principal parts are sitzen, saß, gesessen. But it also means to reside. You could translate it that way if you wanted to. And yet I noticed in working how light also sat or resided in darkness. Let's go on. Das Licht muss man geben und doch die Glut, die Tiefe der reichen Farbe festhalten.
Das Licht muss man geben und doch die Glut, die Tiefe der reichen Farbe festhalten.
So what do we do with man when we see a man in a sentence, Daniela?
It's the subject.
It's automatically 100% the subject. So therefore, when you see man, even though this looks like it would be the subject, it comes first, it's not. So this happens to be a definite article. So one, always remember, always 100%. And this actually ends up being the direct object, which I'll put a circle around. Okay, so one must give the light, or say represent the light at least, and yet, and then what's the verb complex of this next part?
Festhalten.
Yeah, and does muss go together with that as well, as the modal auxiliary?
Yes.
Good. So it goes with geben, one must give, and then it follows here, one must maintain. One must maintain also the glow, the depth of the rich color. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna skip down a little bit. Okay, we're going down just to the end of this paragraph right here. Let's see if I can. Okay, from here, and den always means for, giving the reason for something. Okay, let's read this together. Denn es ist kein Teppich denkbar. Ready?
Denn es ist kein Teppich denkbar,
so prächtig wie jenes tiefe Braunrot in der Glut einer gleichwohl durch die Bäume gedämpften Herbstabendsonne.
so prächtig wie jenes tiefe Braunrot in der Glut einer gleichwohl durch die Bäume gedämpften Herbstabendsonne.
Did you ever know that Van Gogh was I mean a master of poetic prose as well as a great famous, eternally famous painter? Um, okay, so denkbar means thinkable or imaginable, and where's the verb there? Very simply in the first part.
Ist.
Good. So therefore there is no, and then we're using this as teppich. It means carpet, but let's say tapestry. So there is no tapestry imaginable, and then as splendid as, and then you're just gonna something as comparison. But there's another construction here, an extended modifier construction, which we're gonna take a look at. As that deep brown red in the glow of a. Now, where do you go in a? And then you have a sort of adverb here. So what might you think begins there?
An extended adjective construction.
Exactly. Yeah, it goes from here all the way to a past participle or adjective. Where do you find that?
Gedampften.
Gedämpften. Yeah, good. So 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 splendid as that deep brown red in the glow of a, and then you'll go all the way down to here. And so the way that you resolve these extended adjective constructions is to use a relative clause, most simply. Um, so of an autumn evening sun, which softens which equally soft which equally uh, softens through the trees. Okay, which is equally softened through the trees. Great. Okay. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, and that was a long passage. Thank you for your patience, and Daniela did a great job again, and look forward to seeing you again. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye bye.